let me ask you this. Do you smoke yourself the infused flower?
I don't smoke anything.
Yeah. The
I don't.
thing
I
that
don't
I've had
smoke
a
at all.
reoccurring with almost everyone is older folks that are, like, a little bit older folks that are involved with the specific, infused or sprayed. Everyone says this. They say this one thing. They go, I don't personally smoke it. I don't like. I mean, and I get that. Anybody that originally is from like the older. I mean, I'm 27 and I'm in that boat myself. But they say this is it. This is what the market wants, right? And I honestly I think that I think that that's really the reality of this whole entire thing. I mean, it's really what the market wants. The market's going to get. Are you going to adapt with it, or are you going to not?
Yeah, and I think that goes to every aspect of the business, right? It's
Yeah.
the strains change, people's tastes change, um, and the people that evolve, grow, and the people that don't, you know, die off. Like I just read an article. I think it was 2,700 licenses in California weren't renewed this year in
Yeah.
2023 going into 2024.
Yep.
And, a lot of these guys up in Northern California, they want to keep growing apple fritters or biscottis, or they bring all this product to the market that no one wants. All right. And then they didn't change. And then what happens, people want runts and people want strains, crosses of LCGs, and they want candy. And when they don't adapt and people quit buying their stuff, and they're into it for $300, $400 a pound, and they can't get $200 for it because no one wants it, then that just causes a collapse in the industry. But it
Yeah.
also
Yeah.
leaves
100%.
room for growth for people that do evolve, and that's just on the strain side. So now when you take it to the business side, you got into the pre-rolls, you got into the blunts, like what Packwoods did, like with Tony Capone. Like he was the first to really do hand rolled, blunts, and Packwoods exploded. These are all evolutions of the business so far. And this is, and I believe that infusion is just one of these steps of many that you're going to see in the next 5 to 10 years. This
Yeah.
isn't this isn't the last thing that's going to happen.
No, there's going to be way more. I mean, for folks that are like already that are mad about about the views or the spray. I
They're going
mean,
to be
trust
mad
me,
for the
it's going
rest
to
of their
get
life, and
worse and
it's
worse and
coming.
worse for them in the sense of, because it's just going to be, because if you look at it, the way that a brand gets ahead is they have to innovate to a certain degree, and then maybe some people following will also come along, but that's really how you're gonna build up from there potentially. But I also think in general, and this is something that, I'm not judging, and I'm not necessarily against it, but it's always interested me that whenever there's a product that, like I smoke weed a lot less than I used to, right? Like considerably less. I'll smoke, you know, 4 or 5 times a week, maybe a little bit. I used to smoke every single day, all the time. I've cut that down now, but it's always interesting to me about, like, folks that, are in a business, like, like the folks that are McDonald's. Like, do you think people that work there at McDonald's for 20, 30 years, you know, ate at McDonald's every single, all the time throughout those 20, 30? No. It's just interesting to me the things about, like the owner of the said product isn't trying to consume it itself. It's the same thing with these tech, do you think that these tech executives let their like kids use social media? They don't.
No,
I mean, it's with every. So that's why I'm saying I'm not trying to come out as like this is over this, like this is with a hell of product. This is all different types of products. I mean, it's whether and
it's
it's
just my whole thing is I'm not productive when I smoke weed.
yeah.
So
I'm the
I'm
same way.
hitting
I'm the
the
same
run,
way.
I'm
Yeah.
slammed. Like if I smoked, would I smoke infused flower? Probably, because I like flavors. I like all these seltzers. I like everything. I just don't personally smoke anymore. Like when I was young, I smoked a lot. As you get
Yeah.
older and you run a
Yeah, I
business.
mean, but I would say, dude, I've talked to a lot of people, bro, and a lot of people have said, I smoke weed every day. I don't smoke this infused stuff, but I sell it because that's what the market wants. And I'm not hating on that personally. I think that market wants what the market gets. It's just, it should just tell for people watching, like, if that's the case, just be aware that this maybe is not the best thing for you, if potentially, right?
I
Like,
agree.
there's plenty of cigarette, like tobacco executives, I'm sure that don't smoke. Like, it's just whenever you see that, I think it's important to, like, okay, you need to make the decision now. Are you gonna, smoke a jewel like I do every single day, constantly, or are you not? Like, so It's just, yeah, it's just at the end of the day, I think we just all got to be given the education, and then at that point, it's
Personal choice.
personal choice, and that's what
And
the country.
the other thing is, it's funny to me is like how all these traditional guys are so against everything that's new, right?
Yeah,
This technology is expanding at a pace we've never seen before. So these guys are gonna have just like a light, like you probably read comments on my Instagram. Like
yeah.
these guys spend hours of their days just like bombing us, telling us, all kinds of horrible things, death threats. I mean, we got it all. But like, are they gonna live a whole life of being mad? Because that's what it comes down to. It's like you're hating everything that's coming out. Well, there's more things coming out. And I've never seen a group of people that cares so much about what the next man smokes.
It's because they're threatened, bro. This is the game. There's a lot
But
like
what are they threatened by though?
there. This is this because right now the ones that are successful in this world, those are the ones that are going to be inherently, bro. When things change, when new things come into play, people get worried because then it's affecting their status quo of them being on top, right? And that's also when new things come into play, right? Chaos kind of ensues to a certain degree, or change in general, right? And that's when people can make their way and climb themselves up the ladder, right? Whenever there's change, major change, that's when other people that are trying to make it up the ladder, they can actually find a route up there. But when things stay the same, so that's really, I think there's that. I think there's also a worry of it's going, as time goes on, we're going to get more and more corporatized, which we are. It's
Oh
inherently
yeah,
happens with
absolutely.
every single product, that's legal. And that's where I think a lot of, if you look at the underlying, like, that's where I hate to see it, but I know it's going to happen. Like that's the
It
thing is,
is.
like I don't want to see this. I want to keep weed natural. I want to keep all these things, but inherently because of the world that's been built around. I mean, you look around at you know whether it's tobacco, or we'll look around at like the original, like chips, right? Potato chips. I mean, and they've now been taken to a level of capitalistic efficiency. How do we like let's be real. And then what does the consumer want? It's always about the consumer, and what does the market tell us? So the market leads us, and so it's going to inherently happen. Like that's why I do a lot of this media stuff, is I'm trying to preserve a lot of the stuff throughout time, so people understand that this is like what it was like before. That's really
Yeah,
all we can really do to a certain degree. And then if you really want to succeed in this business, you have to adapt or die. I mean, that's the basis of all entrepreneurship, bro. I mean, you can't
it
be
is.
successful unless you do it.
But the
So
main thing that's interesting is you get the biggest pushback from the growers, from the farmers. They're you're ruining, you're ruining, you're ruining, you're ruining. But what I try to explain to them and tell them, I just got back from Hall of Flowers today. I was there yesterday and today. And they're like, "Oh, you're ruining the business." I'm like, "I'm not ruining the business. I'm creating a market share that never existed. I'm bringing more people into the marketplace that never would have come to buy. At the end of the day, all this is getting sprayed on flour, right? So there's more flour being consumed because of this. Therefore, you can grow more, you can sell more. You're creating a larger market. The total addressable market, the TAM with this is expanding just through flavor. Like
yeah,
people are so stuck on the culture and not the expansion and the opportunity for everybody by creating flavored flour.
it's also this, dude. I think this is like kind of like I think it's this. You know what's interesting is, for example, I used to smoke a pack a day of cigarettes, right? Now this device, the Juul, right, was originally, I think was kind of in the hopes, potentially made for folks like myself who really, very addicted to cigarettes. And, this is a great alternative for it, that like, I mean, and I mean, this is one pack of cigarettes worth of nicotine, right? Like
Yeah,
in this one little pot. But what happened with that whole thing with the Juul, right? And maybe you could argue this with the White Claw. I would say the Juul is probably a better example, or the flavored vapes, right? That brought on, I guarantee you, a ton of new people that never smoked before. I mean, I know people close to me specifically that
tons,
that
tons.
have done that themselves, that they literally never used to smoke cigarettes at all. But because of the flavor aspect, they've now come into the fold. So I think for folks in cannabis, you have to realize too, to a certain degree, cannabis is part of the sin category to a certain degree. Now
For
it's
sure.
interesting because cannabis has got that health aspect to it as well. And that's where I think you're starting to see, I think a lot of the people from the original, this is our medicine, right? They look at it as medicine.
Yeah, but like, I mean,
Yeah,
let's
no.
let's be real. Like, I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, yeah. No,
that's the whole
there
other
is
argument.
medicinal
I can
properties.
go
There
down there
cannot
for
deny.
hours.
Yeah,
You know, people say it's medicine. I mean, it's medical. It's this, that. Like,
it's a drug though. It can be, you can get addicted to it, in
yeah,
my opinion, and it can negatively affect your life.
yeah. So,
So, absolutely. Well, anything you want to say, kind of conclude this out? I really appreciate your time.
yeah, no, I'm just, it's just like I said, it's new and it's expanding, and I would encourage people to keep an open mind with, where it's going. It's not going to stop. Um, and for brands, I have conversations with brands all the time that don't want, to associate themselves with flavored terps. And, like you said earlier about the SKU, like we're creating, an opportunity for them to create a completely different SKU to maximize and profit off of this, current, you know, I don't want to say trend because I don't think it's a trend. I think it's here to stay. But with the margins in the business, with what they are on with the taxation and the all overhead of what's going on, it's like you need things that you can inflate to make things make sense. And I think this is where we're at with this thing right now. You either got to do it or you don't, but creating a new SKU for it is the way to do it.
Yeah, and it's looking like the younger generations, whether you're unfortunate or fortunate. I mean, there looks like the way, I mean, and I'm 27, and I personally, and I also just kind of find that, some of the, at least some of the stuff I've kind of smelled or like or even smoked, it's just not for me personally.